Freelance Finance Director. Hi, Innes.
Good afternoon, Kirsty.
Nice to see you.
To see you, nice.
So Innes works with a variety of small businesses, and actually I have had the pleasure of working with Innes in one of these small businesses as well. So it's great that you've joined me for this chat today. So I've just got a few questions for you. And I thought we would kick off by, do you want to explain how this sort of COVID-19 crisis has affected you?
I mean, personally, and I think it's good to talk personally as well as business, because these things have become so much more blurred, the dividing lines between our professional lives and our home lives, because we put a camera in the corner of our rooms and we're now filming ourselves with our families and our book collection and what have you. Personally, it hasn't made a huge difference to me. I'm a divorced parent who works on his own, lives on his own, so in many ways my life hasn't changed that much, but I have seen there's a lot fewer entries on my bank statement every month, and I have had a lot more time for reflection. Actually, it's an awful thing, COVID-19, and I'm probably not the only person that's been able to say that some of the time and space it's given me mentally and emotionally has been really healthy. In terms of work, obviously I'm not travelling to Edinburgh 3 or 4 times a week or to other places in Scotland to see clients. That's not made a huge difference because of the way we've all embraced the technology. I would say that the work I've been doing for my clients has maybe become a bit more reactive. People are waiting to see how things develop, and I'm more likely to get a last minute call from someone saying, can you run me a quick cash flow, or can you apply for a grant, or can we talk about X, Y, and Z? Sometimes they just want reassurance, and I'm there to provide that as much as I am prepared to provide numbers and financial advice.
Mm-hmm. And do you still see that now that we're a few months in to sort of the crisis, if you could call it that, do you still foresee it being quite reactive at this stage?
Yeah, absolutely, Kirsty. I mean, in fairness, I've got a couple of clients who are, one of whom is benefiting greatly from the changes in how people interact, and that's a client in the hospitality tech sector. And then I've got another client in building materials, carbon negative building materials, that's pre-revenue, and they are adhering to their plan and developing, and I'm doing fairly intentional long-term work for those guys. But my other clients, it's still fairly reactive. And I don't mean that as a negative against those guys. They're just dealing with what's in front of them on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. That actually might be quite comforting for some people to hear, if they are feeling that they are being quite reactive, because it is such a fluid situation. So I'm actually comforted by hearing you say that, to be honest.
I'm pleased I'm able to offer that, Kirsty. It was interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine, Helen, that runs a small accounting firm, and she said that she is finding sometimes she gets to the end of the day and she's been working all day, but only seems to have billed 3 or 4 hours of her time. And I've certainly had a few days like that. You seem to be picking things up and putting things down a lot more. And so I suppose financially that's a bit of a negative, but look, there's a lot of people in much worse positions, so I can only be thankful that I've been probably at around about 60% of my, aspirational target for every month.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything keeping you awake at night?
Too much coffee, lack of movement during the day, and playing Civ 6 too late at night. I find these are things that affect my sleep. I suspect that your question isn't about my personal circadian clock, but about the future and concerns about the future. I don't tend to worry about stuff too much. I have a religious faith that means that I don't, and that has been it's been fine for me. I'm not really concerned about the future too much, and I'm mindful that there are people who've seen their businesses disappear. I've seen people who work in the likes of hospitality and such sectors who are really struggling. So I understand that some people are very concerned. I don't see a major threat to my business model as long as I remain adaptable and ready to support and help people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. So what's been your biggest learn since COVID-19 hit the UK?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I think having wide margins in my finances, I made a decision about 3 or 4 years ago that I would very much try and live within my means, both in terms of my business and my personal finances. And hence, as I referred to, when I've dropped to about 60%, I've largely been able to accommodate that just by scaling back on things. I mean, it means I'm not making much in the way of pension contributions and the like at the moment, and clearly long term that's not great. But in terms of the short term, that's okay. And I think, I mean, a couple of years back, I dealt with Pike and Banbridge, and they got me quite a modest hatchback, which I was very grateful for. They did a nice job for me, and I could have gone for some super exec car. I mean, I'm kind of at that age and stage where I could persuade myself of that, and I didn't. And as a result, that's a monthly commitment that's less. So I think that has been reinforced by this, that living within your means and leaving a bit of margin in your finances can pay dividends at difficult times.
Mm-hmm. And
I think also, I mean, on a more positive one, you just see so many acts of kindness and goodness, and clients that I've got who are just demonstrating tremendous resilience and determination. And I think we have a bit of a habit of talking ourselves down in the modern day, that we could never, our generation could never have stood up to Hitler or all that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's that much change. We might be a little bit less hardy, and we've never lived through rationing or national service, but people have generally put their nose to the grindstone and got on with it, and in a really impressive way, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think your clients are learning throughout this?
What are my clients learning? Well, I don't think many of them have had much time to pause and reflect on what they're learning, mm-hmm. But I think they've certainly, to answer the question slightly differently, they've certainly fallen back on what is their core business, what is their product, and who is buying it from them. I know that sounds really obvious, but it's amazing the clutter that's been stripped away by the possibility of not being able to survive, and it really focuses people's minds. So I certainly would say that my clients are really comprehending their core business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something in that, actually, stripping away the clutter, and actually it's amazing how I've heard as well how much people can achieve in a short space of time because they are so focused maybe on one thing.
Yeah, and I have a commercial art gallery that prides itself on being very welcoming to people coming through their doors, but clearly they can't have a bus party full of people wandering around. It's got to be far more by appointment and very much focused on what people want, and still maintaining a tremendous level of customer engagement. And they've done so very well through the internet as well, really been very much proactive with that. But yeah, not able to just sit with the door open and people wandering in and out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if I was to ask you to look into your crystal ball, Ines,
yeah,
what do you think is going to be different in the business world when we come through the other side of this?
Well, I don't want to be an awkward cuss with my answer, but it's what the other side of this is. When we get to that, I mean, only 90% of the world haven't had this dreadful illness yet, and even having had it isn't necessarily a guarantee that you're going to be immune. And in terms of getting a vaccination, yeah, there's tremendous efforts going on there, but it could be many, many months, if not years, because I don't think we've got a vaccination for HIV yet, and that's been, on the world stage for 30 years. The point I'm making is that the other side of this, I think, is impossible to call at the moment. And I suppose, therefore, my answer to your question is, I don't know. I don't really do crystal balls, in case I drop one. But what I would say is, certainly in the accountancy profession, which I work alongside, there's been over the last 5 years, there's been quite a trend obviously towards automation, cloud accounting, the whole business of making tax digital, etc. the notion that you might pay your accountant a couple of £100 a month to do your VAT returns is, I think, ancient history now. That has definitely accelerated during lockdown, and I think the good accounting firms, regardless of their size, will come out the other side of that better and stronger, maybe not quite as profitable, but still continue to work in a good way with their clients. But it will be very much more automated and cloud-based, and the whole new technology.
Mm-hmm. So I suspect people watching this will be other finance directors, freelance, or they might be, permanently placed with one business, and other business leaders.
Yeah.
What piece of wisdom or positivity would you like to share with your peers?
Just enjoy the journey. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm being glib about some of the awfulness that people are dealing with personally and professionally, but there's some very exciting things going on, and if there's good things happening to your business or to your clients or in your personal life, don't beat yourself up about that. Take that and learn from it and appreciate it. And I think keep talking as well. I mean, there's guys who run accounting firms and freelance AFDs and guys that I'm seeing contributing great stuff on LinkedIn at the moment, and it's really much in the spirit of positivity and communication. I mean, our friend Ian, with his HR business and so on, just really positive, good stuff, and just keep at that, because it's so much better than arguing and fighting.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. As you know, and one of the reasons I'm doing these videos is I am passionate about people talking, sharing ideas, learns, experiences. I think that helps us all get through it, and get through it in a way where we also makes us reflect and hopefully get through it in a positive way. So thank you for that. Enjoy the journey is a good thing for us all to remember.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your time today, Ines, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Good. Bye, Kirsty. Thank you.